Okay, here we go. After a couple of false starts. Oh. Hi, everybody. I'm coming to you live over Facebook on the World Wide Web. Playing for you for at least 20 minutes. Usually do about a half an hour of playing and talking and spritzing, picking and grinning. And today's especially an important day for me because it's my wedding anniversary to Caroline Sinclair. I'll tell you more about that after I play. Lulu. The ghost of the machine. It's still there. So is Lulu. Lulu is joining us for our happy anniversary celebration. Well, I'm not at liberty to tell you just how many years we've been together, but quite a few. We officially did this thing on Facebook, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years ago in a faux announcement, but it goes a lot farther back than that. And we were together, my gosh, for 2 years before time than not, living together here, so a heck of a long time. How I met Caroline, well, I'll tell you, here's the story. I was working on what turned out to be the final Captain Beefheart album, Ice Cream for Crow, out in Santa Monica. And I was staying with my friend Eddie Hurwitz, who was an anesthesiologist, the brother of a very, very good friend of mine, Kenny Hurwitz, who was pretty close to us here in the West Village. And one night I was fast asleep, but I had a I can describe this only as a vision of this beautiful English girl's face, very vivid, and it stayed with me. I woke up, and then I forgot about it. Okay, so I finished that record. I went back to New York, and later that fall, after the album came out, I was invited to sit in on a showcase for a release of a vinyl EP under the name The Belmondos, as in Jean-Paul Belmondo. And this was a band of consisting of a bunch of lawyers. Yes, if you can imagine. Well, there are many musical lawyers out there, no offense. Not trying to diss any lawyers out there. Some of my best friends are lawyers. And this was held in a showcase room in Chelsea, here in New York City, in Manhattan. And so I had played on this EP, I had played some slide guitar on a cut called The Runaround on this thing, I think it was. And this was Jay Doherty, Steve Moniz, who else was the other two guys? I'm sorry, I don't know, I have it here somewhere in the old archive. But in any case, at this event, I met a beautiful English woman, and right away I said, this is the girl from The Dream. Honestly, that's what I thought. I said to myself, this is that girl. Here was that face that had haunted me in this dream. So I spoke a bit and found out that, in fact, she lived directly across from me, across Perry Street here, out the window, right next to what's now the mogul Steve Cohen's new mega mansion, which is still not done, but is still being worked on as we speak. So she lived in what turned out to be Montgomery Cliff's old townhouse. It had a history, and I had seen her on the street, but that isn't how she came to me in this dream, and that I know. So anyway, one thing led to another, and I asked her out, and I think 2 days later we got together. And we were fairly inseparable from that point. We clicked. I draw a discretionary veil over the actual minutiae of the relationship development, but that's how we got together. And here we are all these years later. And so what are we going to do on our anniversary day? Well, let's see. I mean, we're planning to go out tonight with our old friend Amos Kolek, a famous Israeli director, kind of the Woody Allen of Israel. Well, not to cast any shade on him with that association, although I'm kind of a fan of Woody Allen to this day, despite evidence to the contrary some people will brandish in my face. I don't know, but I don't mean to to derail the subject matter. We're probably going out with Amos and his daughter Abigail to where? I don't know, a shack, probably in front of a restaurant, because as you know, here in the world, in the whole wide world, we're under another siege from the latest Omicron variant. So we're going to be careful about where we choose to eat. I don't think you can get into an actual dining room now in New York. And for sure, there are mask mandates in our building again, for instance, but nothing has really changed for Karen and I, because I've been very careful to wear masks, as I've urged you guys who check in here all the time to please observe. But what can I say? I didn't see a lot of people on the street in London last week with masks on, and it was really starting to rain down statistics of a rapid spike in Omicron infection, and now here it's gone through the charts all over the place. But one way of looking at it would be, I think that it's time we need to vaccinate the world, especially the richer countries. It would seem your obligation and duty as fellow citizens on planet Earth, the only planet that we know or have, or we can still maybe save at this point. I subscribe to Medium.com. Umair Haq, who's a Pakistani writer and polemicist, who I find to be very, very much on the money on a lot of issues, but there are other friends of mine who say, oh, it's Debbie Downer again every time I'll share a post, because he's kind of a stock and trade doom and gloom merchant as far as projections into the future, but he made a very good point in a recent column that apparently Bill Gates said, well, we have to privatize these vaccines, which is insane because why try and profiteer from this invention when it can be used so effectively to mass spread it and try and inoculate the world to tamp this thing down? Why would you really move towards a profit incentive of keeping it away or selling it at a profit? I mean, it's just I can't believe that he came out for that. But in effect, now we are subsidizing idiots in red states who refuse to get vaccinated for their hospitalizations, etc., because they don't want to get vaccinated. And I could take it into the personal because I know some people I've played with who still are not vaccinated and will refuse to do this. And Boris Johnson's whole wing of the Conservative Party in England seem to, as I mentioned, feel it's your God-given right to be able to destabilize civilization and infect the planet, without sacrificing any personal liberties by getting vaccinated. I don't get it. It just seems cruel and unusual and horrible. And okay, well, I want to get off this thread, but please wear those masks. Please get vaccinated. I'm waiting for the fourth myself. Another statistic is that there's a kind of a diminishing return on the efficacy of these vaccinations, meaning that by your third vaccination, let's say, the antibodies more or less do not have a lifespan in your body as long as the first vaccination or the second. So it might be that we need to get a fourth one within 4 months of your last vaccination. I don't know, it'll be 4 months for me, January 15th, which is also Martin Luther King Day and Captain Beefheart's birthday. So I hope to be able to get my fourth vax and celebrate those days that day. Because I'm determined to continue to work, you see, and tour, and so far so good. Like I said, been very careful, but you never know. And anyway, moving right along, I said what I was going to say on that. I've seen a slew of films recently, and also in theaters, heavily masked. I saw a great one. You can only see this right now, or forever apparently, in a theater, which I think is a good trend. Because, well, anyway, I'm a classicist as far as film going. And I quite enjoy the experience of going and into a darkened room and surfing the wave of projection into a really beautiful image, And when they do it right, there's nothing better. I don't care how big your flat screen is or what conveniences you can have, turning it on and off, and taking pee breaks and everything. All right, but anyway, the name of this director, I don't want to mangle it, he's a Thai director, Apichatpong Veerasathakul, also known as Joe. And he has a film called Memoria, starring Tilda Swinton, which is just in a 1-week run here in New York City at the IFC Center. And I went yesterday to the 1 p.m. show, and it was pretty packed for 1 p.m. Normally at that time you'll get only old age pensioners like myself, without the pension, but older people. No, there were all sorts of people there because he has publicly proclaimed this film will never stream, and you need to see it in a theater. So if it comes anywhere around you, I urge you to go see it. It's phenomenally good, very subtle, right up there in the subtlety department with Azor, another recent favorite film of mine. Well, that's another story. I think I told that one. But anyway, Memoria has so much going for it, and I don't want to spoil the plot or anything, but it's a tour de force for Tilda Swinton. It was filmed in and around Bogota, Colombia, of which Cowan and I are familiar, having spent a delightful 10 days or so with Andrew Lou Goldham and his wife and family and his son Max, our old friends, down there in Bogota, and also out in the jungle of Apula. So some of this is set also in the lush countryside of Colombia. So just for the scenery alone, you should go see it, because it's quite beautiful country side, but the plot is a mind bender, and I won't spoil it. I can't say too much about it, but go see it if you can, and make sure you're wearing masks and have taken proper precautions. But see it, you need to see it in the theater. And what else can I say? I don't know. I've seen Caroline got a whole slew of screener copies as a member of the Casting Society of America. They started to roll in. We even have a couple dupes. I don't know how that happened, but 2 copies of The French Dispatch. Anyone? Maybe it'll improve this time around. I saw it in a theater before the last tour I went on, and I don't know. I was sitting in the back where I normally like to sit. There's a lot of writing and textual stuff on the screen, but here at Angelica Theater, the screen is about the size of a postage stamp, and you're sitting in the back. So for a guy, who needs his glasses to do close reading these days, I couldn't make hide nor hair of it, but I think it had its moments, so I want to revisit that before pronouncing judgment on it. I loved Nightmare Alley. This is another bone of contention with a lot of my friends, a lot of my cineast friends. And so far as they put a lot of money up on the screen to recreate a very fraught and distressed and dingy carnival atmosphere, as they should have. It was done before by Edmund Goulding. I saw it as a boy at like 1 p.m. on a weekday in 1960 on Hollywood Matinee in Syracuse, New York. And I remember the opening montage and the carnival sequences pretty well, but more than that I can't really remember. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I'd say it's worth seeing. There's just so much interesting stuff out there. I want to see Don't Look Up. That's the next one on the agenda. And I want to see The Lost Daughter. Now, I believe that's going to start streaming on Friday. So I'm holding off on going into IFC, where it's currently being projected, because I want to see it with Caroline, and she's not always available. But that's a version of a book by Elena Ferrante that Maggie Gyllenhaal has directed, and it's got a great cast. I'm a huge fan of Elena Ferrante, and in fact, here's a book that I found in London. I don't think it's come out here yet, by Tiziana de Rogatis. Elena Ferrante's Key Words, which is an examination, a close reading of most of her books, especially My Brilliant Friend Quartet. I don't know how you would say that. Okay, but that 4-volume My Brilliant Friend, of which there was a brilliant series on HBO, at least for the first 2 seasons. It took you almost to the end of the second book. I'm waiting for part 3 and 4. I thought it was exceedingly well done. And that's about it. Okay, happy anniversary to us. And a little bit about the anniversary. We had a party. Actually, was it December 28th? No, I think it was around January 10th, but who cares? And my friend Jonathan Rose, who was a university graduate of my class, who was a real estate magnate in New York, allowed us to party in a floor-through on a skyscraper on West 57th Street that had a spectacular 360-degree view of Manhattan Island all the way down to the Battery and north into Harlem. Just spectacular. And David Johansen, who's an old friend, did his Buster Poindexter shtick for free as a wedding gift to Caroline and I, and had a great band with Tony Garnier, who's played with Bob Dylan for years and years, and Tony Machine on drums, who was in one of the final iterations of the Dolls. Somebody else. It was a great night. A lot of people were there. And anyway, that was how we officially kicked off the party, and it's still going on. And we're gonna now fest up tonight with Amos and his daughter. So anyway, everybody have a wonderful week. I'll see you on Thursday. I'll give you a report about this wedding anniversary dinner. And love that you're tuning in. I love you guys. Take care of yourselves, man. Be careful and wear that mask. And I'll see you on Thursday.